My boyfriend was financially struggling, yet I supported him during our 2 years together. The only gift he ever gave me was a $2 hair tie. Then one day, I witnessed him casually gifting a Ferrari to some Instagram influencer. It turned out he wasn't the penniless guy he claimed to be. One night, I stood frozen outside a VIP room, carrying a tray with drinks. Inside, I spotted him dressed in a tailored suit, exuding an unfamiliar aura of wealth. This wasn't the person I knew. He had his arm around a stunning influencer with millions of followers. My heart dropped as I recalled the previous night when he whispered to me, "I'm so lucky to have you. I love you so much." The influencer waved car keys and thanked him, saying, "I don't know how I'll ever repay you." Cheers erupted as someone yelled, "Marry him!" They kissed, and I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. Handing my tray to a coworker, I fled to the bathroom, sobbing while biting my hand. For 2 years, all I'd received from him was that cheap scrunchie. He had claimed his family was poor, his mother gone, his father having suffered a stroke, and younger siblings to support. I sympathized with him, understanding the pressure he faced. I took care of him. We lived in a tiny apartment where I paid for rent, utilities, and groceries, while he insisted that his paycheck went to his family. He even fretted about his situation, asking me if I thought he was a loser for being broke. "You'll stay with me, right? You won't leave?" he'd ask. And I would always reassure him that everything would get better. He promised, "Babe, I'll make enough money to marry you, buy you a big diamond ring, and a house where you won't have to work anymore." Remembering his promises twisted my heart. I left the bar, telling my manager I was sick. Back home, I cried myself to sleep. When he finally came home after midnight, he crawled into bed and hugged me, apologizing for being late. I noticed the scent of perfume on him, and my nails dug into my palms. When I didn't respond, he kissed my cheek, asking if I was mad. Choking back tears, I managed to say I wasn't feeling well, as I realized he was lying. The next day, I left for work early with puffy eyes. He texted, "Babe, why didn't you call in sick?" I stared at his message, my vision blurry, and replied, "I'm fine now." I bit my lip, my heart bleeding for the truth. If he loved me, he wouldn't be kissing other women, let alone gifting a Ferrari. That evening, I went back to the bar where I knew he'd claim he was working late. He appeared, ordering expensive champagne while I was constantly cautious about spending money on our meals. As I served drinks, I noticed him surrounded by the influencer, and my co-workers whispered about the wealthy men, deferentially regarding him as something special. In my uniform, hidden by makeup and the dim light, he didn't recognize me. Overhearing their conversation revealed a shocking truth. He was the heir to a billion-dollar corporation, far from the struggling persona he had painted. No sick family, no hardship, just lies. Then someone asked, "Joel, are you still with that broke girl, Mariana?" Another chimed in, "You've been stringing her along for 2 years. Don't tell me you actually fell for her." Joel scoffed and dismissed me, calling me cheap and tacky, not worthy even to be his maid. My heart shattered as I took in the reality of my rough hands weighed down by hard work, while the influencer flaunted designer clothes. Seeing the $2 scrunchie on my wrist, I remembered pretending to love it to avoid hurting his pride. But to him I was just a joke. When I accidentally stepped on the influencer's foot, she slapped me and humiliated me further in front of everyone. My heart ached, and I fled outside to cry, realizing all his affection was a lie. I recalled meeting Joel when he saved me from danger, making me feel protected. I thought I had found love in his charming demeanor and apparent devotion, sacrificing everything for him over the years, waking early, caring for him. And now I saw how foolish I had been. When I returned home, he was thrilled over barbecue he'd brought from his coworkers, oblivious to my turmoil. But I couldn't eat. My stomach twisted at the thought of him with the influencer. Skipping the meal into the trash infuriated him, but I had seen the truth. A $25 toner was too expensive for him to buy for me, while he'd effortlessly spend on lavish gifts for others. Then came the moment of breaking up. I confronted him with the truth, naming his deceptions. He attempted to defend himself, claiming he loved me, and I called out his hypocrisy and the double life he had been leading. As we argued, I realized he had been manipulative all along, and I stood firm, asserting my worth and demanding he leave. Despite his pleas, I pushed him away. As he gathered his belongings, I saw his arrogance but also the fear in his eyes that I wouldn't back down. I gave him a deadline to leave, emphasizing my determination to reclaim my life without his toxic influence. That night, feeling empowered for the first time in 2 years, I celebrated my newfound freedom with a bottle of wine. I vowed never to let anyone treat me that way again. But as the days passed, I felt compelled to tell my story, feeling the injustice weigh heavily on me. To release my frustration, I composed an anonymous online post detailing my experiences, from supporting him to discovering his lies. To my surprise, it went viral, attracting masses of support, and soon people began investigating Joel's true identity and character. His reputation unraveled as details of his extravagant lifestyle emerged alongside the memories of his manipulation and lies. A lawyer contacted me, assuring me that I had grounds to pursue legal action against him. Despite my fears of his wealth and intimidation tactics, I knew I deserved justice for the time I had sacrificed. As I proceeded with the lawsuit, Joel tried to scare me with threats, but the unequivocal evidence of our time together stood strong. Eventually, the ruling favored me, granting me half of the assets he hid during our relationship. With the lawsuit concluded, I felt liberated and started investing in myself, opening a business I had always dreamed of. Joel, on the other hand, lost not just money but his standing in society as everything around him crumbled. In the end, it wasn't merely about the financial compensation. I aimed to reveal the truth and prove that nobody should ever be treated so poorly. I'd finally regained my freedom, and now I knew my worth.